Dry, dead, cold.
Now keep it clean or it's a must. The more you eat, the more you know. Heart strong, yeah, you protected. Affirmation selected. Healthy, loved and respected. Fear and greed are rejected. Your bubble big, gotta keep it safe. Them energies that's in your place. If it don't affirm it, then it get replaced. So pretty when you talking to me. I ain't taking shit less. Affirming power coming through me. Speaking my success. So pretty when you talking to me.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Simone. Today we're going to get into the new year and how come New Year's resolutions do not work. If you like spiritual based content, then feel free to subscribe to my channel. There will definitely be more of these videos coming soon. Also music that is spiritual based. Okay, so first things first, the new year does not start on January 1st. I don't know who decided to make these lies and confuse us, but I feel like it was done purposefully for us to disconnect to our true harmonious movements. The new year is actually in the spring, which actually makes sense, because that's when life begins again, that's when it starts again, that's when it's time to plant the seeds. So if you pay attention to how the seasons move, then you can kind of understand how our own seasons in our year are supposed to move. Most people try to jump on the ball immediately on the first of the year, and that's really not even the time to start. It's the time to plan. You're not really supposed to be executing at this moment. You're really supposed to be planning. Think about how it would go for planting seeds, or, you know, if you were like a farmer or something like that. You plant in the spring, but you have to plan to plant. So the plan starts in the winter, because the spring is there, you plant the seeds, you get the harvest after basically when summer is coming to an end is when you get the harvest in August. Then the duration of the fall is spent analyzing, how did the harvest go? Did we have a good crop year? Did we have a bad crop year? And then the winter is spent analyzing, what can we do better? Because if you don't really have a lot of food left over for the winter from the harvest, then you're really going to be kicking yourself in the butt and saying, like, what could I have done differently? What could I have done better? What factors caused the harvest to not be good? Or on the flip side, if the harvest was good and you have a plentiful, abundant amount of extra food that you've stored for the winter and you're eating good, then you want to keep that going. You want to keep that momentum, so you'll take notes of, like, what did I do? What factors were in place that made this a successful harvest? You know what I mean? Get into my blueberries. Everything is thrown off when you try to plan your resolutions in 5 days from Christmas to New Year's Eve. Because who's really planning their New Year's resolutions while they're eating Christmas dinner? Nobody. I know I'm not. I'm picking out, doing whatever I want, okay? So that's not the time to do that. And 5 days isn't enough. But a season is. So take that time to plan what we're going to do, what we could do better, or what we need to keep doing. Whatever goals that you have for the year really need to come to a head at the end of summer when harvest time is. One of my goals is to put out more musical content. I want to do at least 2 more videos this year. I'm not filming them right now. I'm waiting on the winter to break, because I live in a place that has 4 seasons. I live in the Midwest, so we understand 4 seasons a lot more than places that don't get them. And even places that don't necessarily get snow still have dry and rainy seasons, or whatever it may be as far as that. There's always going to be like something that's giving and taking. Whether you see that as good or bad or whatever, it is what it is. I'm planning that content right now. Then I'll start planting those seeds once the spring comes. So the weather's gonna break. It'll be nice outside. I'll be able to do those types of things, especially in the summertime, because the weather is just on point and it's abundant with beautiful weather, sun, all of that. So nobody is really tripping about the harvest in the midst of summer. because that's when everything is growing abundantly. When it starts getting towards the end of the summer and into the fall where the harvest is coming, that's when you start getting a little nervous if you see that the crop isn't flourishing like you wanted it to. And then at that point, you have to assess, like, how are we going to ration this out for the fall and the winter season that are coming? Because if you didn't have a good crop, then you've got to ration it out and go back to the drawing board. If you had a great crop, then you can get really creative. But all of the outcome of that is determined by the new year's resolutions, because you have to decide, how are we going to plant these things? You don't just go into it in the spring and do it willy-nilly. I mean, unless you want to be unprepared and have a questionable outcome for your crop. You don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. Yeah, planning is of the utmost importance. And I think we put too much pressure on ourselves to change overnight. And that's really not possible. And the reason why the resolutions never stick is because it is not time for you to go into action. Winter is a hibernation time. You're really supposed to be preserving your energy because you're literally eating off of the last rations. So it's really not time for you to get out here with the biggest bursts of energy and try to get a whole bunch done. If energetically that's what's going on in the seasons, then what do you think is going to be going on with you? You're not going to feel the energy. You're not going to feel that spark. You're not going to feel that fresh newness because it's still the dead of winter. Now, watch spring come and you get this renewal. But by that point, most people have given up on what their resolutions were supposed to be because they got discouraged when they tried to do it in January. I mean, think about it. Why would you plant seeds in the dead, cold ground? Why would you do that? That makes no sense. Look at the seasons. Look at how they move and adjust accordingly. It's not the time. Just plan. Stop putting so much pressure on yourself. The pressure is getting worse. You wonder why the new year in China is in the spring, because that's when everything is starting to bloom. That's when everything starts to grow. I mean, look at the trees. Do they have any leaves right now? Well, it depends on where you live. I'm jealous if you have palm trees. I'm not talking to y'all. Let's keep this to the Midwest and the East Coast. Are there any leaves on the tree right now? No. So why are you beating yourself up trying to sprout? You can't go against nature. That's why I say I feel like it's done on purpose, because like it's literally impossible for you to have the energy to get up and do something right at that point. If you decide you want to work out or whatever, say, I'm going to have a gym membership by the spring. You don't have to get one on January 1st. Okay? It's a marketing ploy. And they know nobody's coming back because why? The energy is not right in the air. It is not time for you to be trying to get up and get active. It is really time for you to plan out how you're going to do that, how you're going to execute your goals, and how you cannot have a repeat of last year. You said you were going to do it January 1st. January 5th comes and you're like, I'm not cut out for this. I'll try again next year. So by the time spring comes, you have already given up on your resolution. That's actually a pretty proper name for them, if you think about it, because you're trying to resolve what went wrong. So that would be the time to plan and to be like, okay, let's go to the drawing board and see what worked and what didn't. You know, that's we need a resolution. You know, in my Aaliyah voice. R.I.P. baby girl. And her birthday just passed, so that's the time to see what do we need to resolve, what do we need to do. But it's not the time to actually do. Sure, do your vision boards, make your plans, but don't put pressure on yourself to get it done like immediately. That's what the year is for. You're not supposed to just get it all done in January. Give yourself some grace, give yourself some space, and plant the seed when it's time to plant them, when the ground is sprouting. Now that like all of the phony New Year's energy is out of the energy cloud of the collective, now we can start to get a little more real with ourselves. Now that it's the time that people have like given up on their resolutions or are feeling doubtful of their resolutions, now's the time to get a little bit of a pickup and say, no, it's okay. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. It's the Gregorian calendar and how they're really trying to like throw us off. And think about how that works as far as consumerism. Because now you're going to go out, do all these things, buy all these things for a quick fix. We ain't doing quick fixes anymore with our 5 days of planning our resolutions from Christmas to New Year's Eve. We're not doing that anymore. We're not letting them take advantage of us. We're not letting them move our minds in this cycle that keeps happening every year. It's a joke now. It's literally a running joke that like nobody keeps up with their resolutions. So instead of like kiki and kakaan about it and nothing changing, let's unpack it. Let's really unpack it and figure out like why are things not getting resolved. Because after the winter solstice on December 21st, when the sun starts to move in the other direction and go up and we have longer days and more sun, that doesn't mean it's time to plant. You too hype. Chill out. Chill out. It's not time yet. Jeez. But it is time to assess, because you're getting on the end of your crop at that point. Whatever you jarred up and stored away for the wintertime, you're at the end of it right now. So it's really the perfect time to say, okay, I do not want to be in this spot again next year. What do I need to do come spring as far as planting, as far as the quality of the ground, dirt, whatever? What do I need to do? What methods do I need to take? What advice can I gather from other people who have had a successful crop? What can I take from them? What can I learn from them? It's the time to take in the information and learn. It's not time to execute. Keep your resolutions, but just chill out on the pressure. Just watch how your year flourishes by you doing it the right way. So that's really all I wanted to cover today. Thank you guys for sharing thoughts with me. Comment down below how you feel about this. Do you feel like you work better by getting on the ball in January? Do you feel like it will work better for you to plan now and to execute later? Let me know. I mean, it depends. Some things work different for folks. Because there are some things that, like, I can't even call them resolutions. They were just things that automatically just fell to the wayside because I didn't want to go into this year doing things like I had last year. Remember I was telling y'all how I was having issues with extra sugar consumption? And I was like down in Red Bulls and Rock Stars and energy drinks. Whoo! When I tell you, it is so hard to get off of sugar. I call them sugar bugs. It's like they get activated when you start eating a bunch of junk food and stuff, and then you start craving it. And I was like, oh man, this is like drugs basically, because it was really, really hard for me to break that habit. So what helped me do that was fasting. I just fasted for 2 days and drank some lemon water. Now I'm eating blueberries, drinking my spring waters, and got some jugo de naranja. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. And I'm not putting a lot of pressure on myself. I'm not like, oh my gosh, I have to do this, I have to be this way, I have to make these changes. Give yourself some space, give yourself some leeway. And if it does start to happen naturally in that order, cool, but don't force yourself. Because then like if you slip back, like, look, I ain't perfect, I still got some Sour Patch Kids on deck. I'm scared to eat them. I did have one today though, after a whole month basically of not having any sugar. Extra sugar, added sugar. I know there's sugar in both of these. Okay, I'm aware. I know there's sugar in fruit. I ain't talking about that. I said added sugar. Okay? I ain't about to play with y'all. I know it's sugar. The point is, don't be so hard on yourself. Let your goals come naturally, as they're supposed to, with nature. Get in tune with nature again. And on that note, namaste, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye.